Beijing at first appeared to be the same city I had known 20 years before when I first came to China as a young reporter. A city of tree-lined avenues, of a culture recorded in millennia, whose monuments dated in centuries. But I soon learned Peking was full of new sights and sounds. The parade was just a rehearsal for National Day. It is Communist China's leading holiday. Celebrations go on for 2 days. They were carrying banners supporting Zhou Enlai's demands for the liberation of Taiwan. They were full of enthusiasm. Taiwan must be liberated. The United States get out of Taiwan, they said. At that moment, the communists were shelling Quemoy. Tiananmen, Peking's Red Square, was quiet. Only a few pedicabs and buses moved around. The Chinese characters say, "Long live the People's Republic of China. Long live the solidarity of the peoples of the world." On National Day, this square would be filled. Hundreds of thousands of Chinese would be on hand to watch. Here the Chinese communists stage their biggest rallies. The men in the street underneath my hotel window were building a sewer. The work went on 24 hours a day. I found out later this was part of a program. On Tiananmen Square, some men were reading anti-American protest letters posted on a cloth bulletin board. All over the city, propaganda signs and anti-American posters. Hate America, they said, liberate Taiwan. But most of all, they advertised the Leap Forward, a nationwide program affecting all Chinese life, industry, agriculture, even sports. Near Tiananmen, there were some of the militia, including a few girls. They were playing cards or other games. The People's Militia is organized by provinces and military districts. Reserves for the Army are trained. Although all ages 18 to 45 have to serve, most young Chinese enter the militia from the youth organizations. They are indoctrinated in communism. They stand guard, take part in major celebrations, appear on many occasions. Girls are encouraged to join. These girls are reading recruitment notices. Traffic was filling the streets. Chinese pedal to work. Pedicabs are used for carrying small loads. Men pull heavy loads. There were cars, buses, carts. I saw Russian cars, which the Chinese have begun to make. There were wood-burning buses of the type I had seen in Europe during the war. Vehicles of all kinds. In most places of the city, there was a good traffic control system. This truck was pulling a string of trailers, carrying a load of coke for steel making in the Leap Forward. The people moved among the ancient monuments of their city. They were dressed in many different ways. Men in uniforms or trousers and shirts. Women wearing trousers or dresses. A trip to Peking's outskirts past the monument to the people's heroes. The Catholic Church. And apartment buildings and government offices. There were many more apartment buildings than I had seen in the Soviet Union. The new planetarium was open. It has become a popular place for visitors to its observatory and exhibition hall. Construction was going on everywhere. It was mostly hand labor. Manpower is Communist China's greatest resource. Colorful fabrics in a Peking textile factory. One of 3 in Peking, this modern plant employs many women. 3 7.5-hour shifts daily keep the plant at peak capacity. This was the factory canteen. These girls lived in dormitory rooms nearby. Women get 45 minutes a day away from work to nurse their babies. A new maternity hospital. Part of it is still under construction. Most of Communist China's workers and government employees come under an extensive socialized medical program. A clinic provides on-the-job care. I visited a worker's family in one of the apartments near the factory. 5 people occupied a small apartment for which they paid about $1.20 a month rent. Kitchen facilities in a courtyard. The main hall of the agricultural exhibition. Opened May 1st to display machines and implements China is making for the leap forward. A display of fabrics for export. Visitors arrive from the provinces, 500 at a time, for a week's tour. 500,000 have visited the fair since it opened. This was a new rice transplanter. They had more than 30,000 different implements, from the crudest hand sickle to this giant combine. They had more than 170 different types of tractors: steam, coal burning, gasoline, diesel. They claim to have built many in the last 5 months. Cars of widely varying designs. Turbines of all types were on display. Locomotives for China's new railroads. This was the only steam shovel I saw in China. But this was only the beginning, they said. The leap forward was only the first step toward China's advanced economic progress. An exhibition of irrigation machinery ranged from steam power to small gasoline motors, even foot and hand treadle. A solar cooker. It was a featured exhibit. Outside the fairgrounds there was a pool. Here, watched by their waiting elders, children played. Goldfish in the pools of the Summer Palace, a reminder of China's past. Once, these grounds were the private preserve of an empress's pleasure-loving court. She spent part of a naval budget on this marble boat. Under the communist regime, these grounds are now a park for China's workers. stone elephants on the way to the Ming tombs. A gate built 5 centuries ago, entrance to the tombs, burial place of emperors of the imperial days. The communist regime has made it into a park. Even put trash boxes in convenient places. Construction of a reservoir near the tombs. They were hoisting the stone with an arrangement of ropes and bamboo poles. With almost no machinery, they do not lack manpower. This was staging for a concrete arch bridge. Thousands of volunteer laborers worked here. Many of them were soldiers. A Chinese communist official told me that soldiers are expected to work as well as fight. A commune north of Peking. The big new project here is deep plowing. They start with a furrow a foot deep, then go deeper, to about 18 inches. Plow deep to bury the American aggressor is the slogan. The commune is virtually self-sustaining. They make their own tools. They do their own repairs. Four 4,100 people live on this commune, 970 families, 1,600 workers, a comparatively small commune in communist China in the year of the leaf falling. Leading crops are corn, millet, vegetables. Their vegetables are excellent. Irrigation pump, 1 donkey power model. These women were threshing millet. Children are excused from school and brought here in a group during the harvest season. Education and labor go together in communist China. Much of their corn is very poor. Some of it was fairly good. Everyone, young and old, works during the fall harvests. These are student volunteer workers, young men and women from Peking universities and high schools. On weekends, they work on farms and roads around Peking. This group had a loudspeaker with news commentaries about Taiwan and commercials about why they should work hard for the Great Leap Forward. Donkey carts were main means of transportation out here. People in the area follow these carts, picking up vegetables, beans, seeds. Nothing can be wasted in the leap forward. A trip to the Great Wall took us past rows of workers' apartments. We passed camel caravans coming in from the north, loaded with grain, wool, and other products, and herds driven to market. How they built it over 2,000 years ago is still a mystery. The regime has restored some of it, made it into a park. There were even signs out here, support the conservation program. With Lin, my interpreter, I climbed the wall. Then I thought of what China's millions are doing today, and its building did not seem so mysterious. Apartments in Shenyang, heart of industrial Manchuria. About 15,000 of Shenyang's workers were housed in this area. These apartments had their own schools, garden plots, canteens. Knock on any door, they said. This woman had 6 small children. The family occupied one room. Her husband was a lathe operator in machinery plant number 1. Women have to teach children sanitation. Educate them before the state takes over. This little girl, holding a fly swatter, is proud of her part in the Kill Pests campaign. Shenyang developed during the Japanese occupation when it was called Mukden. In the State Department store, photographs of model employees are posted on a bulletin board. A wide variety of goods was sold in this store. Although prices were very high, there were many buyers. A crowd gathered in the street nearby. They were shooting a movie. Following the new socialist realism in movies, this scene was shot outside. They even had a script girl. Chinese communist motion pictures carry much of their propaganda in the Leap Forward campaign. This is Vice Director Ye Sun-ping of Machinery Plant number 1. It produces 700 to 800 lathes per month. One of 3 in Shenyang, it was destroyed during the war, later restored and enlarged. Lathes were based on an East German design. Completed lathes were crated. The crates were then rolled to the railroad loading platform. It was all hand labor here. This is the Shenyang Cable Factory and Director Lin Mingyu. Here, 4,500 workers make cable of all sizes, both aluminum and copper. All processes were completed in this plant, which the communists enlarged following the 1949 takeover. They claim production was 12 times greater than it had been during the Japanese occupation and 20 times more than during the nationalist days. Posters calling the United States bandits and telling the people to surpass United States production. Other posters call for production to rise like a Sputnik. This was the plant production chart. Red flags are Sputniks. You're a Sputnik or you're an ox cart. And nobody wants to be an ox cart these days. As in Peking, young students lined up for volunteer labor camps. These are young pioneers and members of the Youth League. Outside Shenyang, these women moving earth were preparing land for a fire brick factory. The communists have gone all out to get women's interest and participation in all their programs, especially during the Leap Forward. I found this was the best way to get their cooperation for these pictures. I visited a commune on the outskirts of Shenyang. This was the headquarters of a new commune. It had been founded only 5 days before my arrival. The chairman, Liu Shenyang, 42, headed 60,000 people working about 65,000 acres. 10 factories were also located here. Hogs were the most important product. The chairman told me there were 17,000. Recent communist agricultural policy in the communes calls for close planting, deep plowing, plentiful use of fertilizer, and irrigation. The chairman told me that this commune hoped to add 3,000 families, about 18,000 more acres, and to increase food production during the next year. It rained on my return trip. I was stuck fast in Manchurian mud and had to get help from one of the farmers nearby. The Fushan oil plant. Here, oil is extracted from coal. Built in 1928 by the Japanese, destroyed during the war, it was restored and enlarged. The Japanese produced 225,000 tons of petroleum in their best year. 1957 production was 320,000 tons. 1958 goal, 440,000 to catch up with Britain. Chief of Office was Dung Guan. He advised me to put on a mask for my tour of the plant. Young laboratory technicians of the plant staff. They are among the highest paid of the 7,500 workers, which include 500 women. The Fushan open pit mines. Hydraulic mining is much used here. After mining, the coal is loaded on cable cars, then hauled to the surface. Cars are automatically dumped. Some of the raw materials from these mines goes to Anshan, the steel company of Anshan. Located 55 miles southwest of Shenyang, it employs over 100,000, including 6,000 women. 1/3 of Communist China's steel production comes from these mills, about 3 million tons a year. Under the leap forward, they are trying to increase this to 4 million tons. Coal comes from the Fushan mines. The plant also has its own department store, canteen, and club. Built during the Japanese occupation, the plant has been restored and enlarged following wartime destruction. All kinds of steel products are made. They have 10 open hearth furnaces. It takes about 8.5 hours to run a batch through during the leap forward, an improvement over earlier production figures. Steel rails and other product are here being run through. They had just opened a Bessemer converter. To this production is added the output of many small furnaces like this one. This plant made 30,000 tons of steel a year. And everywhere in China, near industrial plants and on communes, small furnaces have added their output to the big mills. The sign says, "We are determined to liberate Taiwan."